Good evening. I am Captain Jason Fisher, President of the Prince George's County Police Command Officers Association. On behalf of Chief Hank Stawinski and the Command Officers Association, I welcome you to our annual Candlelight Memorial Service. Tonight, we pay tribute to the 55 law enforcement officers from 13 different agencies who were killed in the line of duty within Prince George's County. We also pay a special tribute to the surviving family members who have been left behind. The Prince George's County Police Department family has been recently reminded of the magnitude of the sacrifice that we are sometimes called to make. Tragedy and loss are freshly weighing on our hearts. To the survivors, please know that while many of us will never fully understand your pain, we stand by you now and always. You are always on our hearts and in our thoughts, as are the heroes whose loss you will forever mourn. At this time, I would welcome Chief Stawinski up for some remarks.
Thank you, Captain. We started out as night watchmen. We started out as night watchmen in a time and a place that now only exists outside of living memory. Before the founding of the nation, before the Constitution, before the Revolution, before all of the events that we all studied and are all familiar with, before the flag, we served. We weren't paid much. The dangers were real. But men and women chose to look out for one another and look out for community. In 1776, the founding of the nation leads to a more formal arrangement. At that point, the colonial army is forming. At that point, the various states are uniting. And the men and women who will become us, they're doing a number of things. They're serving private interests, for the most part, not public interests. They're searching for deserted soldiers. They're protecting factories and warehouses, and yes, in some cases, they're seeking out runaway slaves. We must acknowledge all the pieces that lead to each of us here today. As the nation expands westward, we serve the rails, Pinkertons. Men and women stand for law and order in small towns and dusty places. In 1838, the very first of us really emerges, the day police in the city of Boston. It's the first publicly funded law enforcement body commissioned by the government of a city. And concomitant with that is the standards of professionalism that we respect and honor today. It's followed in 1845 by the city of New York. And again, as westward expansion continues, sheriffs and United States Marshals. Early on, the Bureau of Prohibition is formed. The Department of Investigation. In the 1920s, a need is seen, and a federal law enforcement institution is created that in 1935, J. Edgar Hoover will rename the Federal Bureau of Investigation, our FBI. And men like Elliot Ness fight gangsters and violence in the streets of Chicago. In 1778, General Washington installs the Marshalsea, or the Marshalsea, within the Continental Army to maintain law and order among the soldiers. But it doesn't find a permanent home within our United States Army until 1944 under the office of the Provost Marshal. There's a bright line that extends from all of those events and places and people into this room right now. For an awful long time, on dusty and deserted highways and in dark alleys, in places that people won't go, our ghosts wandered. And then in 1992, the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial was founded, adjoining a temple to Abraham Lincoln and a monument to George Washington, where today we find the Air and Space Museum and the Museum of African American History and the Museum of the Native American. In 1992, law enforcement secured a place in the heart of the American people. And we must never forget that special place that we occupy. Without the sacrifices of those who have served, none of what we refer to as America in 2018 exists. None of it. My own institution, founded in 1931. My father served it from 1956 until 1980. One of our first union presidents, and I'm so pleased as always to have our president sitting next to me today. And as was remarked by the captain, the pain is fresh today. Not only do we remember vividly the loss of Sergeant Mujahid Ramzadeen, but yesterday we lost Kevin Brooks. Some would draw a distinction between the line of service death and the service-related death, but I'll suggest to you that we lost Coop, and we've lost Kevin, and we know it's all the same thing in the end. I'm happy Rob McLean is here. I'm happy that Doug Holland is here, people that I've grown up with. I'm happy that one of the people that made me possible, Melvin C. High, is here and serving as my sheriff. And I'm happy that Jack is here and Susie Sawyer and so many of you from our community, and Roger and Mary. Increasingly, we find ourselves in a context where no amount of misconduct on behalf of a citizen is to be questioned and no human reaction from an officer is to be tolerated. Those are a difficult context in which to operate. That's got to change. And I hope you will join me in demanding a higher level of civility and a new era of respect for law enforcement, based simply on the fact that law enforcement domestically makes America possible in the same way that our military makes America possible overseas. And we've lost too many. And we'll lose more. And at the end of the day, my advocacy for respect for those who serve may not resonate across our entire nation, but I want to be clear that we who serve know that. And we're not looking for that affirmation from the outside. We believe in what we're doing. We believe in the value of it inherently. And I do it for that little girl back there. And I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll do it the day after that, and I'll do it for the rest of my life. Walt Whitman asked the question, "Oh me, oh life, what good in the context of all of this?" The answer, that life exists and identity. And the powerful play continues, and you may contribute a verse. There are so many verses written by the men and women of law enforcement. They create a powerful narrative. Understand that the law in and of itself is words. the men and women who do this work bring those words to life. A red light can't stop a car. It has no impact on a person. It's the power of law that compels the individual to stop. And when they don't, someone has to step forward. Someone has to say, that conduct is not acceptable. And someone has to do that on behalf of communities and towns and cities and counties and states. I'm very gratified to have my state police with me and my federal partners. And I'm going to close with this because it was brought home to me in a new way yesterday. You see, we lost Kevin in Virginia. And I'm not the chief of any of the counties in Virginia. So we traveled across a bridge. And I was met by the Virginia State Police, who couldn't have done more for myself or for Kevin or his family or any of us. We were welcomed into a hospital that we'd never been into by a staff who drew no distinction between the badge that we wore and the badge that Fairfax County officers and Prince William County officers and City of Fairfax officers and Fairfax Animal Control officers. I can go on and on and on. They were all there for us. And that's a testament to the unity of those who serve. But then something wholly remarkable happened. You see, we had to take Kevin from the hospital to the medical examiner's office. And that was a long ride from Innova Fairfax all the way out 66. And at every bridge and every intersection and every exit, I found a Virginia State Trooper and a Fairfax County police officer and a Prince William County police officer. And I've seen it before, time and time again. And although I wasn't home, I was certainly home. I wrote an open letter to them today. And I will close with encouraging each of you, it will happen. The bad thing will happen. You've heard me say it time and time again. And when the bad thing happens and you're there, wherever they're from, whatever they need, you do that. Wherever they're from and whatever they need, you do that. God bless all those we've lost along the way, and Godspeed to each of you who serves today.
Thank you, Chief. We begin our service with the presentation of light. We are honored this evening to have a very special guest speaker who made a trip all the way from Missouri to be here with us tonight. The list of her accomplishments is truly incredible, and she has left her mark on America's law enforcement community. I'm proud to say that the beginning of her astonishing career started right here in Prince George's County. She is the wife of our very own retired Prince George's County Sergeant Buzz Sawyer. In the beginning of his career, she joined a spouse support group and then the Prince George's County Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 89's Ladies Auxiliary, where she would eventually serve as the president. In 1978, she became very active in police survivor issues when she was moved by the in-line-of-duty deaths of 2 officers. Those 2 officers are among the fallen officers that we will pay tribute to here tonight. She is actually the reason why we are all here tonight. She started this annual Candlelight Memorial Service back in the 70s. But she went far beyond just here. She went national. She was instrumental in initiating the very first National Peace Officers Memorial Service in May of 1982, and she would go to plan 10 of those events. In 1988, she gave the idea to hold the National Candlelight Vigil, which is now the signature event during National Police Week. This year marks the Vigil's 30th anniversary. In 1984, she was an incorporator of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial Fund and served as its secretary. Also, in 1984, she co-founded Concerns of Police Survivors, which is now a national recognized multi-million-dollar-a-year organization serving 47,000 survivors, operating 55 chapters across the country. She served as the COPS executive director for 28 years. She has received numerous awards and honors throughout her career. Some include awarded Woman of the Year by the Police Support Group, New York City Police Department in 1989. She was inducted into the Prince George's County Women's Hall of Fame in 1991. She received the National Sheriff's Association's President's Award in 1992. In 1995, she was awarded the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Directors Award. In 2009, she was awarded the New York State Shield's Law Enforcement Support Award. And in 2010, she was the recipient of the Foundation for Improvement Justice Award for her work in surviving families and affected co-workers of law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty. She is a certified law enforcement trainer and has made numerous presentations of law enforcement death and survivor issues at the national, state, and local level law enforcement conferences. She is also an author. She wrote the handbook entitled Support Services to Surviving Families of In-Line-of-Duty Deaths. She wrote COPS training curriculum for the training trauma of law enforcement. And she wrote numerous articles on law enforcement officers' death issues. She's been married to Buzz for 47 years. They have 3 children and 6 grandchildren. Please join me and give me a warm welcome to Mrs. Suzanne Sawyer.
I'm just a police wife. I'm just a police wife that lived it and didn't want to be in the organization that I co-founded. That's the truth. I'm truly honored to be here tonight. I think he took up too much of my time to talk, but that's okay. I have a real sense of being home here tonight. It's really funny, I'm seeing people here who are the sons or daughters of people who served with Buzz. And I'm realizing you could not only be my children, but you could probably be my grandchildren, and that's really pretty scary. When somebody said, you know, Susie, that happened a long time ago, I decided I'd better tell them that you could just say a long time ago. It made me feel a lot younger, but it's great to be here. This ceremony honoring 55 officers tonight, like they say, began in May of 1977, was hosted by the Auxiliary, and I do want to commend the Command Officers Association for picking this great service up and keeping it going. I looked at the program, and since Buzz and I left here in 1993, there have been 25 officers added to this list. And as Hank said, way too many are joining that list, and we have to do something about that nationwide. Unfortunately, several years ago, the auxiliary was disbanded here in Prince George's County. That group of women was my greatest source of support during Buzz's 22 years in law enforcement. And as he said, it was instrumental in not only starting this service, but the National Peace Officers Memorial Service and getting concerns of police survivors off the ground. I'm really very sorry there is not a support group like that functioning for our police families here. One of the things that I also noticed today that is a tremendous, I guess it just needs the accolades that anybody could give them. I remember being in this room and all it was police officers and their families. Tonight I met several of the people with the the County Police Academy, the County Police Academy Alumni Association. There are people here from certain advisory groups, and I understand that they're all actually taking part in honoring these officers. We did it on our own all those years ago, so thank you so very much for showing the community support for these fallen officers. June 26, 1978 was a day that changed my life forever. On that day, Prince George's County police officers Rusty Claggett and Brian Swart were murdered in the basement of the Hyattsville District Station. This horrific dual cop killing not only changed my life, but was the catalyst for a movement, a national movement that changed law enforcement's response and treatment of law enforcement survivors, not only in the United States, but around the world. Spending a day in the Claggett house as preparations for the funeral were being made, needless to say, was shocking, most memorable, eye-opening, and devastating to me as well. The 1970s and 80s were tumultuous times for law enforcement, much like today. Before 1976, there was no federal death benefit for the survivors of fallen officers. Making it in life after the death of their officer was tough for the surviving families. When an officer died in the line of duty, funerals were planned, and agency heads handed out their business card to the survivors. Call us if you need anything, because you will always be part of our police family. That was the usual final pledge from the agency. Some agencies helped the surviving families secure their benefits, but there were no memorial services. There were no physical memorials. Maybe some pictures were hung in a police station. No mention of ever getting the surviving families together to talk. And if close friends of fallen officers didn't keep in touch, most times there was very little contact with the department. Families were kept in the dark about the incident, and unfortunately, they found the details and information on legal proceedings in the newspapers. Even our own auxiliary wasn't sure why we wanted survivors to join our organization, because they were always so sad. In 1981, our auxiliary here in Prince George's County supported me in a run for the national office, for a national office in the FOP auxiliary, and worked hard to get me elected. We planned to promote the idea of the National Peace Officers Memorial Day service, and as you know, it will be held next week, May 15th. At the first service, 125 people attended. Wasn't a very good turnout, but the National FOP thought it could grow. Last year's attendance was over 20,000 people. Going back in history again, the evening before the second memorial service in 1983, as people were gathering in D.C., The FOP hosted a hospitality room. I loved it. Unbeknownst to us, there were 10 survivors who made their way into that hospitality room. And within a course of minutes, after the officers welcomed them, tears broke out. One officer, not knowing what to say or do with a crying spouse, approached me and said, "Susie, you need to get these women out of here. They're ruining our party." And I'm going to be honest with you. I wondered why he picked me, because I was having a great time. I like to party. Why did he pick me? I'll ask myself that question forever. I took the 10 women to a quieter place and listened to their conversation. They talked about death, dying, the agency's support ending with the funeral, officers crossing the street so they wouldn't have to talk to them or their kids. You know how that is. There but by the grace of God go I. They asked how they were supposed to care for their children when they couldn't get out of bed some days because their own intense grief debilitated them. They felt alone. They felt they were the only ones who ever experienced this pain. Yet none of them wanted to take that business card and dial that number, asking for help. They realized that they were now the bad reminders of law enforcement's ultimate demands. And the most scary of all, they said they had suicidal thoughts because they didn't feel support. When the evening came to an end, they remarked that this meeting was the best thing that had happened to them since the death of their officer. They finally found others who understood they weren't alone. Next year, can we have a grief seminar when we hold the memorial service? My response was, and what are we going to talk about, death and dying? Yes, death and dying, because at that time, nobody in law enforcement ever talked about it. I promised them we could get it done. I kept in touch with those surviving spouses throughout that year, and we all know how women are. You know, you give us an inch, and what do we want? A yard. Now these women wanted a national support group. So on May 14th, 1984, at the first National Police Survivors Conference, 110 law enforcement survivors voted unanimously to organize Concerns of Police Survivors, their national support group, to reach out to all family members of officers who died in the line of duty. And it would be headquartered in Prince George's County. Cops didn't have any money, but there was a Smith Corona typewriter, a phone, and a small office in the Sawyer basement, and that's where it all began. The first few years, cops had a very meager existence, and then we secured a grant for a booming $174,000, and we thought we had the world by the tail. Today, as he said, we have 47,000 survivors in the COPS database. The annual budget is $4.5 million a year. There are 22 employees that plan and carry out 38 national events. That's tremendous growth. But the sad part is that growth has come because of the continuing number of deaths of police officers in our country. We have a COPS Kids Summer Camp. Over 300 children and their parents attend. We have an Outward Bound experience, a teen getaway, retreats for spouses, parents, siblings, significant others, extended family members, coworkers, and the coworkers' spouses now. And I would really encourage the survivors to consider going to one of those programs. Read the materials that come into your home and find that group of people who would truly understand your sense of loss that you have experienced, and they will become your best lifelong friends. Meet and talk with the other survivors here in Prince George's County. You could have your own small support group. They will help you rebuild your shattered lives. For law enforcement agencies, and I'm looking at all these chiefs down here in these front rows, cops teach us something called the traumas of law enforcement, 9 sessions all across the country. And now there's a 3-day officer wellness conference, and over 600 people are attending. We've only held it 3 times. I encourage you to send representatives from your agencies to those trainings. They focus on the ways for agencies to not only support surviving families, but also the officers and their families of those who still serve. And COPS has a 2-year grant from the Justice Department that totals over $4 million. This movement has been quite successful. Yet there are still occasions when survivors have to fight for line-of-duty death benefits, both within their states and nationally. Even though I'm retired, I still work on appeals that survivors are trying to secure from the Public Safety Officers Benefits Program at the Department of Justice. There are families whose officers died 6 years ago who are still waiting for somebody at the Justice Department to move that file holding their death benefit claim on for further review. And some of those claims are for officers who died after intense SWAT training. Go figure. Why do we still have to battle? Thomas Mann, a Nobel Prize winner in 1929, I must have been born back around that time from the way that guy said long, once said, "A man's dying is more the survivor's affair than his own." His statement is why cops must exist. Grief can be so debilitating that people can't function. Grief is a horribly painful emotion. You can buckle under its tremendous strength, or you can make yourself work through it. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You can't go around it. You have to go through it. But most of all, don't ignore it. One day, survivors will think of their loved one, and instead of tears, a smile will cross their face. Then they will begin a journey to find their new normal. Survivors have told us there is nothing better than the peer support found at COPS events to help you get through grief. One surviving spouse talking with another spouse, one surviving mom with another mom, on down the list of survivors to one small child talking to another small child. Survivors have developed their own private websites, their own telephone networks, they even travel for vacation and holidays together. COPS is one of the strongest peer support groups functioning anywhere today. Maryland has an exceptionally strong chapter. So support is truly only a phone call away for law enforcement survivors. I challenge you, survivors, to work through your grief, become passionate about a new goal in life, and accomplish that goal in honor of your fallen officer. My favorite song is the theme from Flashdance, and my favorite verse is, "Take your passion and make it happen." Make the world a better place, because they made such a demanding sacrifice. Thus, my message to you tonight, survivors, is live life knowing that your actions and accomplishments honor their memory. Well, COPS moved from Prince George's County to Missouri in 1993 after Buzz retired. But there is a beautiful tree of life in the COPS National Office. The trunk and the roots of that tree will forever give notice that this movement, the recognition for fallen officers and care for their surviving families, all began right here in Prince George's County in Maryland. I will always proclaim that the Sawyers Family Agency is the Prince George's County Police Department, and our family will always hurt when another one of our officers fall. I'll end my story tonight with something that happened in Outward Bound several years ago. A group of teens were climbing the Colorado Rockies. The first to reach the pinnacle of the mountain was the boy who immediately lay down on the cold, damp crag. He extended his arm over the cliff, and he yelled to the girl who was struggling to make it to the top, "Reach up, take my hand, let me pull you up." Every day, somewhere in these United States, one survivor reaches out to another survivor with those same words. "Reach up, take my hand, let me pull you up." I extend my heartfelt condolences to each and every survivor in this room and every survivor of all the officers that we honor tonight. And yes, that includes the coworkers who sometimes fail to recognize that they too need to grieve the loss of their coworker friend. I hope I have the opportunity to meet some survivors that I don't know. I pray to God to help all the law enforcement survivors through their darkest days until they find their new normal, so that they can live again and enjoy life to the fullest. May God bless each and every police officer in this room, in this county, in this great nation, and may He keep you safe as you return to your families. Thank you for letting me come home and be a part of honoring the fallen heroes of Prince George's County. And to them I say, as I said back in the 1970s, well served, peace officers. May you all rest in peace. Thank you.
Susie, thank you. We are very honored to have you speak for us tonight. Your commitment and dedication to law enforcement line of duty deaths is simply remarkable. On behalf of everyone here tonight, a sincere thank you for all you've done. You truly made a difference. The memorial roll call will be read by First Lieutenant John Decker.
Arthur J. Sanderson, Department of Justice, End of Watch, December 29, 1932. Edward D. Merson, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, September 1, 1937. Ellsworth D. Dryden, Maryland State Police, end of watch, October 7, 1938. Charles F. Caldwell, Prince George's County Police Department, end of watch, June 12, 1948. Alfred W. Steinett, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, May 2nd, 1963. Joseph K. Brown, Sr., Sergeant Brown, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, February 19th, 1966. John W. Leatherberry, Jr., Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, March 21st, 1968. William R. Clements, Seat Pleasant Police Department. End of watch, November 30, 1968. Robert E. Yuzerski, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, November 30, 1968. William W. Gullett, Jr., Bill, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, February 16, 1969. Raymond L. Hawkins, United States Park Police. End of watch, February 15, 1972. Carol D. Garrison, Prince George's County Police. End of watch, February 20th, 1973. They called him Bo. Charles S. Rathel, Maryland State Police. End of watch, September 18, 1973. Donald E. Parkerson, Jr., Maryland State Police. End of watch, September 18, 1973. Mart Hudson, Jr., Maryland State Police. End of watch, June 16, 1975. Mark C. Featherstone, Calvert County Sheriff's Office. End of watch, April 22, 1976. Albert M. Claggett, 4th, Prince George's County Police. End of watch, June 26, 1978. Rusty. James Brian Swart, Prince George's County Police. End of watch, June 26, 1978. Tony Kelsey, Antonio M. Kelsey, Prince George's County Police. End of watch, February 2, 1980. ID 910. You got my old ID number. Raymond Hubbard, Prince George's County Police. End of watch, February 8th, 1982. A.D. Johnson, Allendale Johnson, Prince George's County Police. End of watch, December 8, 1982. Out on the Beltway. Robert K. Best, Metropolitan Police Department. End of watch, December 15, 1982. Carlton X. Fletcher, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, June 12, 1983. Died in Greenbelt. Richard J. Beavers, Captain Beavers, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, November 29, 1983. Everybody liked Captain Beavers. Bob King, Robert J. King, City of Hyattsville Police Department. June 18, 1984. James L. Gordon, Metropolitan Police Department. End of watch, December 14, 1987. Mark K. Murphy, Mark Murphy, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, September 1, 1988. That one broke our hearts. Harry L. Kinnikin Jr., Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, January 13, 1990. Graduated the academy with me, nicer man you'd never met. Ryan Johnson, Ryan C. Johnson Sr., Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, April 22, 1992. Roger P. Fleming, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, October 27, 1992. Roger started out as a cadet at Hyattsville. Made sergeant, now he's gone. Harry Davis Jr., Metro Transit Authority Police. End of watch, December 20, 1993. John L. Bagilio, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, February 28, 1994. Put flowers on his grave last week. He's out there at Gate of Heaven, Montgomery County, with Claggett and Swart. John J. Novobelski, Nova. Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, April 26, 1995. That was a character. We gave him a fine funeral. William H. Christensen, Jr., Federal Bureau of Investigation. End of watch, May 29, 1995. Agent Christensen was working the stakeout the night Nova was looking for the killer. He got Nova. He died helping us out. Amos Williams, Jr., District of Columbia, Department of Corrections. End of watch, December 31, 1996. Oliver W. Smith, Jr., Metropolitan Police Department. End of watch, February 26, 1997. Raymond G. Armistead, Jr., Maryland State Police. End of watch, March 25, 1998. Robert F. Jones, Jr., U.S. Postal Inspection Service. End of watch, July 14, 2000. Colonzo M. Masembwa, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, November 10, 2000. Started at District 1, I remember him. He was always smiling. Hakeem A. Farthing, United States Park Police. End of watch, August 10, 2002. Elizabeth L. Magruder, Prince George's County Office of the Sheriff. End of watch, August 29, 2002. James V. Arnaud, Prince George's County Office of the Sheriff. End of watch, August 29, 2002. It was a terrible day. I remember. Tony Walker, Anthony M. Walker, Prince George's County Police. End of watch, November 15, 2003. Anthony Jones, Tony Jones, Maryland State Police. End of watch, May 9, 2004. Worked out of College Park, good cop. Clifton Rife II, Metropolitan Police Department. End of watch, June 2, 2004. Stephen F. Goggin, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch, June 21, 2005. At least he died doing what he loved to do. Richard S. Finley, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch June 27, 2008. Cut his teeth on my shift. Good boy. Stephen H. Bunker, Maryland State Police. End of watch September 27, 2008. That was a terrible thing. Mickey C. Lippy, Maryland State Police. End of watch December 27, 2008. Thomas P. Jensen, Prince George's County Police Department. End of watch March 9, 2010. Tommy. Wesley W.J. Brown, Maryland State Police. End of watch June 11, 2010. Adrian A. Morris, Prince George's County Police. End of watch August 20, 2012. He's just too young. Brennan R. Rebane, Prince George's County Police. End of watch March 7, 2015. Ja'Kai D. Colson, Prince George's County Police, March 13, 2016. And the last one, Mujahid Ramzuddin, Prince George's County Police. End of watch February 21, 2018.
I would like to thank everyone for coming out to pay tribute to all of our fallen officers tonight. Events such as these help to heal our hearts and our minds. They remind us of why we are here and what came before us. They help to light the path for each officer that dons a uniform each day to protect and serve this community.
Breathe, Dad. Whew. Order! Whew.